All right, y'all. So this is part two of my life of trauma. I think I'm prepared. I have good days, I have bad days, and I still go through depression when I think about it. And then there's times that I can talk about it and I'll be fine. I just want to put this out there because this can really help someone else. And I think talking about it, yes, um, when you think about these things, it's hard to talk about, but it can also be a healing for me, and also it can help someone else. Um, so let's get into it. So I think I told y'all about how I grew up, how um, my family was, and the struggles my mom went through with us. My dad and my mom divorcing. I believe I was 4 or 5, and how at 5, my mom sat me down and told me about my dad, the man that raised me, and explained to me that biologically he's not my father. Y'all know I know he's my dad, so don't even worry about that part. And today, I've been busy all day today. You'll see a video on that. But as of right now, I feel like this is an okay day for me. I'm okay today. Like today is a good day. I mean, I get in my moments. But I think it's time for me to finish out this story and about me growing up. And so y'all can hear the trauma part. So the beginning of the trauma, I believe, started when my mom and my dad divorced. When I was looking out that window, when I explained to y'all, I was looking out that window and my mom was saying that they had divorced. And it's weird because at the age of 4 or 5, I understood that they were no longer married. Like, I was a smart little girl. I was a smart little girl. And I felt all kind of sad. And I remember feeling it. Um, Moving forward, um, I think I told y'all how, um, what part am I on? I say around the time my brother was like 13, how he was getting in a lot of trouble. And it started off with him, like with credit cards and stealing credit cards, buying clothes and sneakers, and making sure I was cool. Now, I'm around the age of, let's move forward. I'm around the age of 6, 7, 8, 9. I am having still okay life. My mom's still living in her house that my dad and my mom brought together. We having the best Christmas, the best barbecues. My mom, I think I explained this to y'all. She was dating somebody that, like, we were stable, like, gave us the world. The only thing I did not like about this guy is that eventually he became toxic for my mom and also for us. And I think I explained in the other video that he started like name calling her. And at that time, I wasn't even sure if that was the right thing for him to do. Because I grew up with him and I looked up to this guy like, I'm not even going to say like a dad. Because I didn't never look at him as a dad because of how he treated my mom. But he was just some man in our life that we knew for a long time. Um, then I noticed like for years from like 10, 11, 12, 13, he was in and out her life. Like, he slowed up a lot. Like, it was not stable. And at that time, when he was not coming around my mom, like, in a stable mode, my mom had to move with her mother. And now we living with her mother. And I really don't want to go into details on how it was living with my mom's mom, because it's nothing like it was when we had our own. Like, when my mom had her own house, it's always better when you and your kids is in your own home. So I don't really want to go into detail, because I don't want nobody thinking that I'm bashing my grandmom or anything. Because my grandmom, she played her part in taking us in. And, grandmoms sometimes don't play. Like, I ain't watching your kids. Have your kids don't go in my refrigerator. It was little things like that, but I just don't want to get really, really into that too deep, because she was just being a grandmom. Like, buy your own food. Y'all handle y'all, like, Judy, handle your stuff. So it was a little bit of stuff that I was hearing, and who wants to hear that as a child, with somebody talking to their mom like that? But she was just being a mother to her daughter, which was my mother. So she was just doing her motherly things. But all kids be like, grandma mean. We all think that grandma is mean. But grandma was not mean. Grandma was just like, this is my stuff. These are your kids. Get your stuff. Get your own stuff and stuff like that. Now, I started to visit my biological father and his mother. I took to his mother very, very quickly. She was a loving, loving grandma. When I met her, I called her grandma. Like, I grew attached to her so fast. And I think I grew attached to her, and don't want to start crying on here. I want to stay strong, but I'm a crybaby, y'all. I grew attached to her because I believe that my dad that raised me, and I want y'all to know the difference, because my dad is my dad, but I just want y'all to know the difference of who I'm talking about. Because my dad that raised me, the lady that he had in his life before he had kids by my brother's mother, the lady before her, give me a moment, y'all. I'm sorry. Somebody called and interrupted. But before he got with my brother's mother, he was with another lady, and I grew so attached to her, like she was my mom, because I met her at the age of 4 or 5. So when I met my biological grandmom, I did meet her at that same age, around 5. But I wasn't around them like constant like that. I started going around my biological grandmom around 9, like consistently. And I wasn't really around her son, which was my father. Okay. So I did not want to be around him. And it wasn't because he didn't raise me. It was because I felt this feeling that was just not a safe place. When I met him, I felt off. Like, it just didn't feel right. I did not feel like I knew him. He was a complete stranger in it. It was like this strange man type feeling, and it felt gross. Like, I felt like it was a demon around me when I met this man. And when he tried to take me places with him, I felt like it was just not a good feeling. And it felt like I was with a demon, y'all. Like, seriously, now that I'm older, I can explain the feeling. It felt like I was straight up with a demon. And, some people carry demons. And he did. He did carry this demon that I'm going to explain to y'all. So, it just didn't feel comfortable. So I stayed mainly around my biological grandma. But I also went and played with my sister. So when they told me to go play with my sister, sometimes I would come downstairs and I would sit under my grandma and my mom, and I heard them talking. And my grandma said, "What's Blindetta last name?" And my mom said, "Towns." She said, "Wow. And what's your husband's name?" She said it to my mom. And my mom said, "Oh, my ex-husband?" She said, "Stephen." And my biological grandma was like, "That's my cousin." Like, just like that. She was like, "That's my cousin." Before I became a Mosley, this is what she said. And I don't know, I might got family out there. So if you see this video, reach out to me. If we family and you know like my biological family and you want to connect, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with meeting people and being around certain people and things like that. I am definitely fine with that. But anyway, she was like, I was a Towns before I married Monty, which is my father, um, his father. She was like, "Yeah, I was a Towns before I was a Mosley," she said to my mom. And they had this conversation, and like my grandma, my biological grandma, she's very well mannered. She's so proper, like she's uppity, y'all. Like she was just really a. My grandma was that grandma, okay, and I grew so attached to her. And then um I was going over there, going over there, going over there, and soon I kind of got used to being around my biological father. He violated me, y'all. He violated me. And the first time it happened, I was 10 years old, and I was at my this is when we was living with my mother's mom. And my mom and my biological father started seeing each other again. And I remember him staying the night with us at my mother's house. And we I was on the end, my mom was on the end, and my biological father was in the middle. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I don't even remember him coming over or anything because he probably came when I was asleep. So I don't remember anything. I just remember waking up, and I remember that something happened. But the crazy part, y'all, like literally I don't remember any details of anything of that day. Everything came back to my remembrance when it happened a second time. And I'm going to explain the second time. So, when it happened to me the first time, I blocked it out. Totally blocked it out. Totally forgot about it. And like I had no necklace, no no memory of it. Um and I think I kind of slowed up going over there. And my mom would ask me, "Do I want to go over there?" And I would be like, "No, I don't want to go over there." But I think when totally forgot, I started going over there again. So when I started going over there again, because they kept saying, "Your sister is asking for you. Your sister is asking for you. You need to go be with your sister." Because remember, we built a relationship at when I was 9. And me and my sister are 6 years apart. So 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. So she was probably like 3 at that time. But you got to remember, I was with her from 9 to 10, or maybe at 10. I don't, like I said, I can't really remember. So even if I was over there consistently at 10, when this happened to me at 10, you have to remember I blocked it out. So I probably wasn't going over there that much, but she probably remembered the times that me and her spent together. So I started going over there again. And one night, my sister, I remember screaming and hollering, saying she had a migraine. And every time I used to go over there, I used to always wonder, like, don't she always have migraines? I didn't understand why she always had migraines. Um, so sometimes he would pick her up and put her in his room, and I would be in her room. So one day he came upstairs and knocked at the door and was like, "Blanetta." And I said, "Yeah." He was like, "You want to come with me?" And I was like, "No." He was like, "You can come with me." And I was like, "No, my mom told me I can't go with somebody I don't really know. And he was like, your sister's with me, it's fine. So he tricked me. So I ended up going downstairs, and it was late at night when everybody was asleep. So I ended up going downstairs, didn't think anything of it. And I was like, my mom told me I'm not supposed to sleep in the bed with nobody. And he was like, it's okay, I'm your dad. Like, I'm your father. Like, it's fine. Like, I'm your dad. So I didn't think anything of it. And he violated me again. Um, when I say violated, I just want y'all to know I was not raped, but I was molested. Okay. So I was being touched, and he was doing things inappropriately to me as a child. And there were some things that he told me to do, nothing orally. I had to put that out there because I know people probably want to know, but like some things he told me to do that I went along with because I did not want to get raped. Okay, so yes, underclothes was off. Um, I would say panties was down, and I did not. And I hope that this video, because I'm not sure if you can say some of these things on YouTube, but um, I don't know how I might have to fix it. But just know that if I silence it, I will say it in a way where y'all can understand it. But yeah, mid underclothes was midway down. Shirt was, I believe, was still on. Shirt was on. Underclothes was mid down. But I went along with whatever he said to do, like coaching me, okay, said to do so I would not get raped, okay? So it was molestation, no penetration, okay? Um, because he knew that I never, ever, ever had intercourse. I was a virgin. I was a child, I was a baby. I was 11 years old when it happened again. And that's when everything came back from when it happened the first time that I forgot because I blocked it out. So I was scared, and everything came back about what happened the first time. So I know the first time it was the same way. It was not nothing. No, it was. I know it was not rape. It was just molestation, and I'm gonna just leave it there. And anyway, this is the beginning of my trauma. When we lost our home, me meeting my father, getting to know him, and him violating me. He violated me. He took my innocence. And I'm saying he took it because even though it was no penetration, meaning that's still my innocence. That belongs to me. And I was so scared of him. I did not never want to go back over there. And all I know is my grandmother did not understand why I never went back over there. She couldn't understand why. Um I don't know how long it been, but I know they kept calling trying to figure out why I wouldn't go back over there. Like I just disappeared for a few years. So from 11 to like 14, I just did not go back over there. And my grandmother came to see my mom. We was living in a project at the time. So again, my mom, let's go fast forward 3 years. My mom did not know what happened. I never told my mom anything. I thought I did something wrong. I really thought I did something wrong. And I had a lot of stress on me. And I even knew like when my mom told me the situation with my dad, Steve, um, it was a depression. I was depressed because I was depressed about that for years, holding that in, and then I got violated. So I'm depressed double time. Then we leaves my Um, grandma's house. Again, a year went by. I get violated again by my biological father. And then we moved into an apartment, my mom. And the apartment we moved into, my mom met her husband had passed. He passed away. So we met my mother's husband and they get along. And I was always a prayer warrior. I started praying very, very young. I always prayed because I always knew God. I'm hearing something. Hold on, you guys. So I always prayed. It was nothing. I don't know what the heck I was hearing. I always prayed, and um, where am I at? I hate when stuff like this happen. Um, yeah. So again, okay, I know where I'm at. So my mom moved into this apartment in Crumlin, and my mom meets her husband at the time, and he, for some reason, I was like, he's not the one. I was like, Mom, he's not the one. And God always gave me dreams. And I knew he was not the one for my mom. He turned out eventually a good man for my mom, but it took us some time. So let's get into it. So she meet him. He's a heavy drinker. When he get drunk, he like to pull out knives. He's trying to pull out knives, and now this is like really becoming unstable in our lives, and this is when I feel like we are what do you want to call it? It's unstableness now. It is dysfunction. I have never seen so much dysfunction at the age of 13. And this man started pulling out knives on my mom, and no, I was 14. I was 14 and things like that. Then I meet my first daughter's father, and I end up pregnant. And he was the guy that was with my mom. He was very, very supportive. Eventually, he had to stop drinking. He started treating my mom a lot better. But in the dream that I had, the dream was telling me he was not the one, and he had a demon. And the demon was the drunken demon. Now, remember when I told you that I know and I can feel demons? The demon with my biological father was a rapist demon. He was a rapist. Like, he was a molester. Like, I mean, let's be honest. It is what it is. And I forgave him, y'all. And I told him I forgave him. Me and him actually had a recent conversation this early in this year. His birthday was in September. I ran into him. I'll get into that on the next video. But let's go through these stages of my life. Anyway, he had a drinking demon and he liked to pull out knives. But anyway, he started doing better. I ended up pregnant, and that's when we moved from that place, from that apartment. I was going to school in Ridley Township, and we ended up moving back to Chester. They actually put me up a grade higher because Ridley School District was a grade level higher than Chester, they said at that time. And they put me actually in my right grade then. And um, one day I was asleep. It was in the month of October when we actually moved out of that apartment. Now we into the project housing. My mom got us public housing. So I'm 14, I'm asleep. Now my mom is still with her husband at this time. And I almost had a nervous breakdown, y'all, in my sleep. I was screaming and I was hollering and I was like, no, you can't have my baby. No, you can't have my baby. No, you can't have my baby. And my mom woke me up and she said, Net, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? You're okay. Broke down. And I had to tell my mom what happened to me. And she said, Dorn, this is why. Jesus. I never told. I never told my mom anything. Because I thought it was my fault. All the years. All them years, y'all. All those years. I thought it was my fault. What happened to me? And I thought it was my fault because I knew what he was doing was wrong. And I went along with it because I didn't want to get raped. So I never told until I was pregnant, and I knew I had to take, because I did not want my child to go around him, and I didn't want what happened to me to happen to my baby that I was bringing into this world. I was screaming and hollering in my sleep. My mom tapped me. And I could remember the day like it was yesterday. And I told her what happened. And my mom called the cops right away. And they said that she had to reach out to the Chichester cops because it happened there. I didn't tell her that it happened twice at the time. I just told her about when it happened to me at 11 because I had more of a clarity and I remember more of detail. I don't really remember a lot. I remember vaguely, but I don't remember a lot of detail at 10. And when she called Chichester police, she said, I don't know after that what happened, but from her story, she said that they did do a polygraph. He felt the polygraph detector. They knew that he had did what he did, but they said by me telling at the age of 14, and it happened to me at the age of 11, the statute limitation was up. It was nothing they could do. So my biological grandma kept trying to reach out to my mom, and that's probably why I had that dream. Because I knew if she tried to reach out to my mom, she probably want me to start visiting her. I'm pregnant, and they want to be around my baby. And I love my biological grandma. She did nothing to me. She probably listen. My biological grandma had no idea her son was that way. And she probably heard he was that way because I heard some stories that not only happened to me, it has happened to others before me. But um, I don't think she believed that until we told her what happened. I remember my mom reaching out to her after my mom got me therapy, and I went into therapy and things like that after things happened to me. Um, I do remember um, my biological grandma coming over to our house and saying that she want to see me and everything, and I'm about to have this baby and stuff like that. And all I can remember is me telling her what happened and her saying this can't happen too many times. I believe you. So whatever she heard prior to whatever my story was, then she knew what was going on, really was going on with other kids or probably other people that it happened to. And all I know, she passed away within 2 weeks or a month after that. And I felt so bad, like darn, I told my grandma what happened and she passed away. To me it was like she passed away with a broken heart about her protecting her son and all this stuff. And she worked for children and youth. That's the bad part. She raised all her grandkids but me. And the reason why she could not raise me because my dad adopted me. His name was on the birth certificate. My dad that raised me. My dad. Okay? Blood don't make somebody your parent. Love make the person your parent. And my dad Steve loved me. What I do know is that when my mom and my grandma was sitting down and she said that my dad Steve was her cousin, and his father was like her first or second cousin or second or third cousin, something like that, between the first and third cousin. I was like, I am a special child because God made it so. Now, it's no incest now because my mom is not related to none of the men. But my mom didn't know they were cousins. My mom had no idea. My biological grandmother told us that Stephen was her cousin and that she was a Towns before she became a Mosley. So it made me feel so special to know that I still know my family. And the family I've been brought up with my dad Steve, they are still my family. So I'm just like, yay! I ain't gotta be searching for all these people. The only people I really don't know is the Mosleys. But I know the Towns. I know all the Towns. They know me. I am their blood. Regardless, I am still their blood. And that's the blessing part in this whole story. I'm so grateful to God. I am so grateful to God that He chose my parents. Regardless if they made it in that marriage, God chose. Thank you, Jesus. The only ones I don't really know is the Mosleys, but I know the whole Towns family and my grandmother, my biological grandmother, was originally a Towns, and she named my cousins that I knew, and then I talked to my uncle, Bootsy and told him the truth. I told him that, I don't know if I told him that my biological family was related to him, but he would know now if he see this video. But at the end of the day, I asked my Uncle Bootsy, did we have a DJ for a cousin? Because my grandma, my biological grandma told me that, we had a DJ in our family. Like, I think he was all over the radio and stuff, and he's my cousin. And I don't even know him. And I believe my Uncle Boosie told me he was our cousin. So thank God. I thank God. I just thank God that my brothers, that my dad, Steve had, they're still my family. But they're my brothers. They ain't my cousins. I know some of y'all are back there probably laughing and talking. But they're my brothers. At the end of the day, I hope this helps somebody. I hope what I shared helps somebody to know that you can overcome. You might still go through some of the crying. When you think about it, you might go through some of the pain. But what I do know, that it happened to me. So, years go by, y'all. After this happened, I remember, and I don't know if my aunt remember, if you're watching this video, my biological aunt, she invited us over to a cookout she had. And my biological father was there, and I was very distant. They asked me to come to her house for a cookout, and I went. Now, at this point, I only had 2 kids. I took my kids, but I also talked to my kids before I took my kids and told them, don't talk to nobody you don't know. Stay close to me. Don't go off with nobody by yourself. So we went so my kids can actually know who their biological grandfather was, and they knew to stay away from him too. To be honest, I didn't want to go. I asked my mom, should I go? And she was like, yeah, we should go. And we went. And I wasn't really ready and prepared to go, but I just went. After that, I haven't been talking to my aunt until this year. And I went to visit her, and I did tell her what happened, and I'll keep that conversation between me and her. But yeah, I did tell her what happened. She did nothing to me. She was a great aunt. I even remember at 10, I think one of those years, she bought me a dress for, I think I graduated 5th grade, one of them grades. And she bought me a dress. I do remember that. All I know is I went through a lot because of what happened to me. I had trust issues. Even going to church, I wouldn't hug men at all until I was completely healed. It took me a long time. But when I talk about it, I still cry. Like that little girl that's in hiding. When I say I went through a lot, even when I was working during the time when I had my first child, my biological father would see me at the mall working, and he'd try to come near me, and I was screaming and hollering, "Get away from me, get away from me." People looking at me weird. Eventually, I got over those stages, and I would see him and I would talk to him. And even though I didn't want to, my mom was like, you're a child of God. You have to speak. You can't be like that. And I started to speak. I started to talk to him, but I felt like I was being fake, y'all. I felt like I was being just so fake. Then one time he tried to get in contact me, inbox me. I was around in my, I guess, late 20s maybe. And I just told him, I was like, listen, I don't want nothing to do with you. All the times I was seeing you, I was just putting on a fake. And I'm tired of putting on a fake. I need time to heal. You know what you did to me. Leave me alone. Stop trying to build a relationship with me. And you did what you did to me. Like, I did not forget. And I really think that he probably thought I forgot what happened to me. I did not. I did not forget. Just because I didn't tell nobody what happened to me, I didn't forget about what happened to me. And he respected it. Fast forward to last year in September. Well, this September. Well, no. September last year. Yeah, last year I ran into him. I believe that was his birthday. He said it was his birthday. I don't know if it was September, y'all. Listen, I don't know that man, to be honest. I don't know his birthday, but I believe his birthday was around September. And um I seen him. He was telling me some situations about my older brother by him. And then he was telling me, I think that was basically it. And then I listened, and then I told him I forgive him. I said I know what happened. He wanted to get into more conversation, but I couldn't because my daughter was around. But the look that he gave me, it was like, I'm glad you forgave me. That's how I know I healed. I know that I'm tearing up and I know that it hurts what happened to me, but I know I have forgiveness now. It took me a long time, y'all, to forgive, but I forgive. I don't want no relationship with him though. I forgive from afar. But that's my story. That's my story. All right, y'all. That's my story about my childhood trauma.